Hi, I'm Justin Gatlin. I'm the pastor of Alvin Missionary Baptist Church, and I'm doing a few videos just kind of giving you an introduction to the way that Logos Bible software works, try to show you what is available at different levels, and maybe help you to see what would work well for you. In the last video that I did, I showed you Logos 10 Fundamentals. That's the very basic package. It's $50. It's designed to be your first package, and so it doesn't offer some of the things they do in others, but it'll give you a great resource to start with Bible study. I think that a lot of church members and Christians should start there and have a great resource. Whenever you spend money in Logos, anything you buy later is prorated based on what you already own. And so if you buy Fundamentals and then you buy the starter package, you'll get about $50 off that starter package. Now, Fundamentals is a little different. So if you've bought some books here and there, you don't get a discount on Fundamentals. It's $50 flat no matter what, because it's designed to be kind of your introductory package. After Fundamentals, there's Starter, there's Bronze, there's Silver. It goes way up. You can spend a huge amount of money on Logos. But I think that the best value for many pastors is going to be Logos 10 Preaching Suite Essentials, and I will try to show you why. It's $200. It does not include all of the books that Fundamentals includes, and I think some of those books are really good. And so I think the best thing to do would be to get both. If you get them both, you will get a little bit of a discount. It comes out to be about $225. But I've got a referral code where you can get $100 off. So it can be $125, give or take, for both. And so reach out to me if that's something that you are interested in. You can only do that once. It's your first base package. You can get $100 off. So if you buy Fundamentals and then try later to do it, you won't be eligible. But your first base package, you're eligible for $100 off. And after that, there's some different discounts that are available, but none really quite as good as that for somebody first getting started. So Logos 10 Preaching Suite Essentials is, as it's described, ideal for pastors, targeted toward pastors. And it is, like I said, not going to give you very many new books. I'll scroll down here. In addition to the stuff that's included in Fundamentals, it's got some quote books and stuff, some illustration books. It's got the CSB added, and the ESV expository commentary. Whether the ESV is your favorite translation or not doesn't really matter. It's just a commentary to sort of preacher's commentary. That it's pretty lengthy, 5 volumes over the New Testament, and they're all pretty long. That is a good commentary, but I think that many people are already covered. And that's about all it includes. It includes one book on preaching and one book on how to build applications from Jay Adams, who's well known for his biblical counseling stuff. And other than that, you're not getting a lot of resources, books. What you are getting are features. And so that's what I want to show you here. So the big thing that you gain from the Logos Preaching Suite Essentials is the tools for preaching, obviously. So there are some other things that you get. There's a resource, parallel passages, and I don't want Fundamentals books anymore. I want to switch to the collection that I made of starter books, parallel passages in the pastoral epistles. And so this will show you that 1st, 2nd Timothy, and Titus often have similar passages, and so this aligns them the same way that a Harmony of the Gospels does, which is pretty neat and a pretty useful tool, I think. And so you've got that, and then there's another one, parallel passages in the Pauline letters that's included, and I guess that one's not in starter, but it is in this one. And so this will give you a useful tool, right? So you find out that Paul talks about the same thing here and here and here and here. And so if you were studying Ephesians 3 and wanted to find other places Paul talked about similar things, this is it's a lot like using cross-references, but it puts them all together for you. And it's a really useful tool, and the quality, I think, is pretty high. And so that's useful for sure. One other thing is the synopsis of the Old Testament. That's a harmony of Kings, Chronicles, and Samuel. And so let me pull that up for you. You can see I've got a lot of books that are not included in these, but I've been using Logos for about 10 years. So you can see here Joshua 21:4 and 1 Chronicles 6:54 are parallel. And so if you're studying something and you want to see, okay, where else does the Bible tell this same thing? You can use these resources. So between the synopsis of the Old Testament, the synopsis of the Pauline epistles, the Gospel Harmony, and then that resource I showed you in the last video about Old Testament quotes and allusions in the New Testament, you can really do a lot of very serious study, especially then when you take into account the treasury of Scripture knowledge and all the cool resources that are there. So lots of really good stuff there for sure. Now, the big preaching resource, what do we get with the preaching version? Well, I'm going to go here and go to the Sermon Manager. And I'm going to show you, I'm a planner. And so I've got my sermons played out for quite some time. The Sermon Manager will let you look at your sermons, will let you plan what you're going to preach on, or if you're not a planner, to record what you already preached on. And so for me, I go in here, and so this Sunday, March 3rd, I'm preaching on the Great Invitation. Sorry, let me pull this back up. Luke 14:7-24. So I'm able to put my series here. I'm able to put the text. I could add topics. If you preach this, if you travel and preach revivals or whatever, you can put different times you've preached it to help you keep up with that and target all of that stuff together. So this is my sermon this week. You can look at it like this, and it'll show you your different series. It'll keep up. You can do Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. You can see how long have I been preaching on this and how much longer. And you can see the way all those things kind of work together, which is really neat too. So the Sermon Manager is a cool tool for organizing your resources and stuff. It'll, of course, show you the calendars and stuff that are calendar events that are coming up that week. You can get it to show different things. I don't usually use the topics and stuff personally, but you could use that to sort it if you wanted to. You could say, okay, I want to see all the sermons I've preached on Sabbath and rest. And you could kind of work through like that if that's the kind of thing that's interesting to you. Let me show you though. So when I was preaching this sermon, a wide tree and a narrow gate, that was a couple weeks ago. I'll go ahead and click that sermon for you. And you can see my notes here. So what's really neat about this is I've got my introduction, I've got my text, I've got all my resources. I can print this out. And I print out. But if you use an iPad or something, you can access these immediately on your iPad. And when you're making it, it will automatically make slides for you, which I think is just really, really useful. If you're a pastor of a small church and you want to have PowerPoint slides or something else, and you don't have somebody to do that for you, and it's a big time drain, I think, then Logos can help you. This preaching suite can help you with that. And so you can, and I'll just create a new sermon for the sake of this. So I'll go back to Sermon Manager, and if you click one blank sermon, no date, I'll just set the date for today and create a blank sermon. You can save templates and stuff if you want to. And then I click Add, and it creates a sermon for today, Untitled Sermon 20. Okay, so I'm going to go here, and I'm going to title my sermon, The Glory of God, kind of building on what I had before. And then I'm going to type, introduction for my first thing. And then I'm going to type some notes here. And then I've got my first point, the goodness and the glory of God. Now I'm going to highlight that. And I'm going to make that heading 1. And you can see immediately Logos creates a slide for me that matches it. If you're a fill in the blank kind of guy, you can highlight goodness and you can do fill in, and Logos will create 2 slides for you, one with a blank and one with it filled in, and it'll do that automatically. Now my text is John 1:1-12. So I write that and then I hit enter, and it will automatically load up for me all those scriptures. I can click this and I can adjust the way it, wrong button, that's adjusting the text. I can click this and I can do 1 verse per slide and make it nice and easy to read. I can mess with all that stuff. So I can click on this text. I double click on this and it opens this up. And then that looks nice already, but I can go to Find Media and I can search for whatever I want. So Glory of God, I can search bright colors, and hit enter. Okay, bright colors shouldn't give me anything. I can search for bright. There we go. And so there's all these different templates. And so I can pick one that makes me think of the glory of God, like this galaxy here. And Logos will automatically set the background, automatically change the font so that it will have good contrast and look nice. You can make it include the translation name or not. You can do all that stuff. And then you just click Update Media, and boom, it's done. Now I can right-click this, and I can click Apply this style to all slides. And then, boom, now all of my slides have the same kind of background. They've all got the same look, and so they're all going to match up nicely. And anything I add after that is going to work too. So I can add another slide, I can do these things. It'll let you make handouts and stuff too that you could print and bring to people, so you can hide your answers, and you can click Export, Print, and then there it is. There's your notes that you can hand out if you like to do fill in the blank notes. It's all being done for you immediately. Here's my slides, right, ready to go. There's the text of my sermon. I can fill all this stuff in, and pretty much immediately I can pull this stuff together. So then I use Proclaim. If you're interested in Proclaim, let me know. Because it's owned by Logos, so I can get a discount code for you for that too. But Send to Proclaim is fine. But I click Export to PowerPoint, and I can click Fully Rendered, where it'll all be done and ready to go. It'll have me save that. Takes a second to export it, and then when I go to open that PowerPoint up in File Explorer. Sorry, I should have paid more attention to where I was saving that. In Documents. Well, okay, I don't remember where it was, but when you use that, you can very easily pull that stuff together, get what you want, where you want it, get your PowerPoint made, and then it's done. There's no need to do anything else. You export it to PowerPoint, it is saved to PowerPoint. I must have quit it too quickly. So it'll pull that up, get it ready, and then as soon as it's ready, you'll have a PowerPoint you can load on your computer. So that part, I guess, does take a second, the exporting, but they're successfully exported PowerPoint. Now I got that ready. So I go ahead and I open this up, and then boom, here's my slides ready to go. And I'm all set. So that is a really, really useful feature, I think, that if you are trying to do slides or something in your church and you think, oh, I don't have the time to do that, how much extra work is that going to be, or whatever? Well, it's not anymore. You can just let the software do it for you. And again, I think that's just a really useful tool. There is a preaching mode even. So if you preach from like a computer, then you can access this. And if you've exported it to Proclaim, it'll actually move your slides automatically with you. But you can, if you preach like on a tablet or something, you can open this up and you can just click on through. It'll start a timer for you so you can see how long you're going. It'll let you see those, let you adjust your slides as you go. It says slide advance failed because I don't have the slides running. So just a really cool tool with that as well. So I think for a lot of preachers, the idea of spending with the discount code $100 one time to get the ability to have your sermons ready to go like that and make your slides and keep all your sermons organized in one place and everything, I think that's worth a lot. And it's got these different features. You can add stuff to handouts. You can make a question sheet. You can add a slide about anything. You can do normal Word stuff. It'll prompt to do illustrations and stuff in a different font and things for you to make it easier to see. I don't know if the popular quotes thing is included in the starter package, but the essentials package, but this other stuff definitely is. So, it is popular quotation sidebar. So you can go over here to popular quotes and you can say, I'm looking for a quote on the glory of God. And you hit enter, and automatically it gives you, here's a Schaeffer quote, here's a Tozer quote, here's some things that you can use to enrich your preaching. It gives you some illustration, some quotes to use as illustrations and stuff, and I think that's really useful. The sermon notebook, like I said before, you can make notes that are not part of your sermon manuscript, and keep, as you're studying your text and stuff, keep it all right there, and so that's pretty cool too. This version includes a sentence diagram tool. So if I go to Documents and I create a sentence diagram, I do this every week. I don't do a real diagram. I do a thought flow diagram, but it'll let me insert a passage and show the Greek word under it, and let me color code it, let me indent it so I can see it. If you are into real sentence diagramming, it gives you all those tools and stuff right here. And then I print that out and I work from that when I'm studying. And so that's pretty cool as well. It also gives you access to workflows where it'll kind of give you guided steps that are pretty neat too, just sort of helping, if you're just stuck, it'll walk you through this process. So if you go to guides, there's the workflows here. And so I want to click, let me pick one that's included for sure. The Haddon Robinson's workflow. I click this and I push type in what I'm going to preach on, John 1 through 10. I don't remember what I said. Let's do 1 through 19, I guess. And here, and it gives me step by step, and it'll save all my notes and let me explain to myself why I'm doing what I'm doing and walk me through the whole thing. Because sometimes you're just stuck, and having some prompts to use for as long as you need them until you're moving again is great. It can be really, really helpful. It also includes some interactive stuff like the New Testament use of the Old Testament interactive. So this is less preaching and more just a tool. So I showed you those books before that let you access a lot of this information. But what's neat about this is, again, if I'm preaching through John, I can click John here, and it'll immediately give me all of these references. Now it'll include the Apocrypha and stuff, because sometimes the New Testament quotes the Apocrypha. It's a conversation for a different time. But it'll let me see side by side all of that. And I can sort it out, right? I can say, okay, I want Old Testament references in John where Jesus was speaking and that come from Isaiah. And I can just drill this down. And I can get a lot of really useful stuff with all these tools here. So that's pretty helpful as well, I think. There are the narrative character maps. That's in here too. I can use this resource. And this shows me where people were at different times in a story. So if I'm reading 1 Kings 1 and 2, I can see, okay, here's the times that Solomon and Zadok are together and stuff. And I can click these things, and it's just a cool resource. And if I want to find out more, I can double click it. It'll take me to the fact book and show me all about it. So those are important. Those are not as essential, I guess. Important is probably not the right word, but those are helpful tools and can sometimes be enlightening. But the Sermon Manager and Sermon Builder and stuff like that, I think, are just incredibly powerful time savers when you combine them with the resources that you already have for Bible study here in the software. Let me think. Is there anything else? I'm looking through the list here to see if there's anything else I need to point out to you. I think that this will include the Sermon Starter Guide. Let's see. I can't really, I'm not sure. Maybe not. Maybe it's not included in Essentials, but it'll give you the sermon themes and stuff as well. So let's say I'm doing a search, and again, I'm going to Bible, and I want to preach on the glory of God. I type in glory. One of the options it'll give me is theme. That's a preaching theme. When I hit this, it'll give me all these passages that it suggests I could use for preaching on the glory of God. So if you're trying to do a topical sermon or something, it can be really helpful. There's the corresponding words visual filter, where if you're looking at Bible dictionary and a text side by side, you can get it to show that, where it'll highlight it in both. So if I was comparing the King James Version and the English Standard Version, and I'll increase the font size so you can see what I'm doing. And I've got them both here, and I want to say, okay, the King James translates it a great company here, and how does the ESV translate that same word? And so I can turn on corresponding words visual filter, and it will highlight for me denarii is translated pennyworth in here, and so I can see these things side by side, which I think is pretty useful too. So, the King James says pennyworth again. So I click this, and it tells me the ESV translates that denarii. Or I want to see rabbi. Remember, I can sync these together so they'll stay linked up. So you can see father. These are all the same Greek word is what that's telling me. And so that's something too, if I want to just see, is there a pattern here? Maybe you're not comfortable with Greek or Hebrew. Well, you can click it and it'll show you, hey, this is the same word, and let you bring that stuff together. So that's really useful as well. The last thing I think that I will mention here is the other thing that you get is the music section. So if you're the pastor of a small church and you are creating the whole service, then I can go to music here. It's included in a lot of the guides and stuff when you're using a passage guide or a fact book or something, but just for the sake of showing it to you by itself. If I was preaching on John 1 through 18, I hit enter, and it will look up suggested songs for me to sing alongside it. So it says you can sing Amazing Grace, There's Power in the Blood, Angels from the Realm of Glory, Be Thou My Vision. So for all these hymns, they have hymnals, and they have all those scriptures that the hymnal has that tells you these are where this comes from. And it basically just looks that up. It tells you, hey, here's what you can do. And some of them, it'll include the Logos hymnal resource. I'm not sure if that's included or not. It'll play it for you. You can hear this. So that's pretty neat as well. It'll give you that picture and everything. So if you're trying to plan a service, that can be a useful tool. Again, I said that was the last thing, but I should tell you about the timeline. The timeline's a cool feature as well. I go to this tool line, advanced timeline, and I can see what was going on in the Bible and in the surrounding world at different times. So in 621, the Book of the Law was found during the reign of Josiah. If I click on that, if I have some dictionaries that talk about it, it'll give me that information. And I can scroll through and I can see what else was going on at that time. Okay, Josiah died in 609. Here's who's Pharaoh at that time. I can pull all that stuff together. I can see just lots of resources. And so this helps you sometimes put stuff into place, especially in the New Testament era. So if I go to the right here and it goes to the present day, so it goes pretty far. But if I go to about the time of Jesus, I can see, okay, what was going on around here? So obviously there's disagreement about some of this. Was James written in 44 or was it written in 50 and things like that? You can, again, if you're curious, you can click in and you can look up some of the resources that take that position and see those things. But you can see the whole culture at that time. You can look at this and find out who was Caesar and who was, what all was going on by going through this list. So I can click event type and I can see the worldview and practice, and I can see these things. I can pull it all together, and I can just click fit and say I want to see this from the life of Jesus, and boom, it'll automatically pull this together for me, and I can scroll through that and see what was going on during this time. You can search it, so I can search if I wanted to know who was Caesar. I'll just type Caesar up there, and it should show that for me. Yeah, so Caesar Augustus reigns from 27 to 14 and things like that. Gives me that scope, and so I can compare that. So again, that's not the most incredible tool. That's something that you could figure out different ways, but why? When the software will do it for you. So you can use the same resource, the same tools and stuff I showed you in fundamentals, plus these additional things for studying the New Testament. So again, if you use this discount URL that's available, then you can get $100 off. And so when you have the preaching suite and the fundamentals together, it's $223 minus $100, so it's $123 to get both. They'll do payment plans, but it's a $6 fee each time, and so you're probably better off putting it on a credit card or something, just from a financial point of view, because the interest ends up being fairly high when you do it like that on a small package. But that's up to you. So again, for $123 to get all that and all the Bible study tools I showed you in the previous video is pretty incredible. If you do the fundamentals by itself and then later want to get it, then you'll pay $180-ish because you won't be able to get that $100 discount on your second one. But still a good value, I think. So to me, the starter, the essentials, preaching essentials, is a great value to help you in preaching, to help you do different things. There's a lot more to it that I'm able to show you. But again, here I am 30 minutes in telling you what this software can do. So hopefully this is helpful.